guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Melissa and I record new videos every week. If you're new, subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about a topic that I feel sometimes is like taboo to talk about, and it's breastfeeding. So I just had my first child in August and I had planned before having him that I wanted to breastfeed. One, just because, to be completely honest, I think it is a popular opinion that breastfeeding is best for your child, which I do believe that breastfeeding is obviously very great for your child. I am also not against formula. So I feel like people really shame mothers that decide they don't want to breastfeed and use formula when formula is just as good as breastfeeding. So I want to make that very clear. I feel so bad for mothers who are unable to breastfeed and feel guilt about not being able to breastfeed. And I'll actually get into that when I had some trouble breastfeeding. And I felt that way, and I think it's just like common culture, like society norms, to feel guilt if you're not able to breastfeed your child, which I really feel we can or I really wish that our society could get away from that, because it's just not fair, and it's not practical. I will say that my health insurance, where I gave birth to my son, the hospital that I had to go through my health insurance, was very pushy on breastfeeding. They were like, you need to breastfeed, that's the #1 choice, breastfeeding is best. There's like posters everywhere on in the OBGYN section of the hospital, even in labor and delivery. There was just like posters everywhere about, it felt like propaganda, like if you don't breastfeed, like you're not a good mom. And I thought that was ridiculous. Even though I had decided that I wanted to try breastfeeding, I knew that if it wasn't possible, obviously I would have to go to formula, and that's the case for a lot of moms. So I didn't really like that about where I gave birth to my son, because I know that there are mothers that decide before having their child that they want to use formula, and I don't think it's fair to make them feel bad, while they're, giving birth to their child for not wanting to breastfeed. But like I said, I decided that I want to. It was just a personal choice for me. I wanted to try, but I knew it might not work. So when I had my son, he actually latched on right away. A lactation consultant came in, watched me breastfeed him, and was like, you're doing amazing, he's doing amazing, here's some tips, but you're doing great, like keep it up. And I was like, cool, like I got it, like great, because I know for some people it's really hard to get your baby to latch on. So while we were at the hospital, we were there with my son for a little over 24 hours. So not a long time, and I breastfed him while we were there. But when we got home, the night we got home, he was non-stop crying, and he wasn't like that in the hospital, and I could tell something was wrong. And I was breastfeeding him and he'd be latched on for more than 45 minutes, and when I would take him off, like, okay, I think that's enough time, he was just non-stop crying. And then I was like, you know what, I think he's not getting any milk, or I don't think he's getting enough milk. So I call my mom in a panic, like crying myself, like, I don't think he's getting any milk, I don't know what's going on. And she's like, try your pump, like pump, see if milk is coming out. So I did that, and it wasn't. And I realized that even though he was latched on and he was sucking and he was trying to get milk, my milk didn't come in yet. And I wish I would have realized that in the hospital, or the lactation consultant. It was my first child. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying my best. But yeah, so my milk did not come in. So this was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night during a pandemic, and I didn't have any formula. So I will say this, even if you are like 100% I'm gonna breastfeed, I've done it before, whatever the case may be, I would suggest that you still buy formula to have on hand just in case, because that night my mom and my sister had to find a place that was open that had baby formula to buy us formula so that my son could eat. And it was really stressful, and you know, like when you just have a baby, you don't want to go through that. So, and you know, Daniel's cousin had actually told me to have formula on hand just in case, and I just didn't get to buying it. So that's like my #1 tip. Even if you're gonna breastfeed, you know, just have some formula on hand. You just never know. So basically we got formula. I had to give him formula for his first 2 days of life because I didn't have any milk yet. My milk did not come in. Finally, on the 3rd day after my son was born, my milk came in, and it really like came in. My boobs were huge, swollen, they hurt, but I was just so happy that my milk finally came in. My son, by that day, he didn't want to latch on anymore, or he would get frustrated because he was used to the bottle already for 2 days having a bottle. So that was so frustrating for me. Luckily I had an appointment with a lactation consultant through my insurance, and they suggested using a nipple shield. So if you don't know what that is, or if you've never seen it, I'll put a picture here on the screen of a nipple shield. They're really inexpensive. They just actually gave me one when I went to this appointment, but I've bought one since then. They have them at Target, Walmart, like CVS, really anywhere you can buy them. Really inexpensive, and that was the only way I was able to breastfeed my son, with a nipple shield on. I feel like because he was used to the bottle for the first couple days, and then not having like the texture of a nipple from a bottle was like throwing him off. So with the nipple shield I was able to breastfeed him, which was really great, because I was like, okay, thank God. Like it's just really hard when you're trying to feed your child and you're having difficulties with it, but the nipple shield really helped me. But because my son would be on, like literally he would breastfeed for more than 45 minutes at a time, and then he was eating every 2 hours, it gave me maybe 30 minutes like in between of like downtime before he had to eat again. And it was kind of frustrating, especially being by myself, just because we were in a pandemic. My husband had gone back to work. He only stayed home for 2 weeks, and it was just really frustrating. So I decided to start pumping and bottle feed him my breast milk, and honestly I think that for me that was the best decision. I was like way less stressed by just having a bottle ready for his next feeding than having to worry about, is he gonna latch, and then he gets like uncomfortable and I have to like relatch him. And I will say that I didn't always bottle feed him. I still tried to breastfeed him from time to time, especially in the nighttime, because I was like, okay, my husband is home, he can help me if I need to like get up for some reason, or if I needed something he could get it for me. So it was just way easier to do it when he was at home. But during the day I bottle fed him. I would pump and bottle feed him, and that was just way easier for me. I used I think it's Medela breast pump that I was given through my health insurance, and I'll post a picture here on the screen. I really like this pump, although I felt it was like bulky and hard to like take places, which the only place I would go was my mom's house. But in the end so I ended up buying another like easy like hands-free pump from Amazon, and the first couple times I used it, it worked well, and then after that it was just like not worth it. Thank God they were only like $25, but I don't recommend those. The Medela pump really works the best for me, so I kept using that one, and I still use it to this day. But I did hit another bump in the road with my breastfeeding journey around the 3-month mark, 3 months postpartum, when my son was about 3 months. I wasn't producing enough milk, and that is like beyond stressful as a mom, when you're like, oh my gosh, like, you know, if I finally got to a good stage of like breastfeeding and pumping, and then I wasn't making enough milk. And mind you, I was trying everything. I was drinking water non-stop throughout the day. I was eating oatmeal, I was drinking coconut water, I was taking my prenatal vitamins, I never stopped taking, and I was not making enough milk. And I realized that this happened when I was on my period. Anytime I get my period, I struggle to make enough milk. That month in particular, it was so bad that I needed to try formula again because he just wasn't gonna have enough milk if I didn't. So I tried formula again. And I will be honest, I was like reluctant to, because I was like, no, like we were doing so good with breastfeeding, and you know, he's used to having my milk and I want him to have my milk, and I don't want to have to buy formula, and just, you know, I was reluctant. But you know, like my mom like reassured me. She's like, you know what, at the end of the day, you just need to make sure that he's eating and he's healthy, and there's nothing wrong with formula. She's like, you can literally do both, you know, whatever you have in your milk and then supplement with formula when you don't have enough. So I'm like, okay, right. So I tried it, and my son literally, like in the bottle, he like sucked some of the formula and then literally just went like and spit it all out. Wouldn't even swallow it. And I was like, okay, great. So I was super stressed, like, oh my gosh, he's gonna starve, he won't drink formula, he only wants my milk, I'm not making enough. And you know, I somehow made it. I somehow made enough. Even though he slept through the night, I was waking up every 2 hours to pump, and I made it. But the next month, when I got my period again, the same thing happened. And I was like, you know what? It was during a week that I had a lot of stress from work. So I know that that added to me not making enough milk. And I was like, I'm just gonna try formula again. Like, that's, you know, like the only way I'm gonna be less stressed about producing enough milk, and you know, I'll be happy that my son is just getting enough milk in general, whether it be my breast milk or formula. And so we tried formula again, and he was fine with it. I think the time we had tried it in his 3-month mark, I think maybe I just didn't like warm it enough or like shake it enough, so it was, I don't know, but he was like totally fine. He drank it like if it was my own milk, and he was totally fine with it. He didn't have any stomach problems after that. He slept through the night still. No like reaction to it. Like, it was all positive. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me tell you that was the best feeling ever, to know that I didn't have to stress if I didn't make enough milk for the next bottle, because I could use formula instead, which was great. So to this day, I've been using formula. I probably use it like every 3 days or every other day. He'll have 1 bottle of formula a day, and the rest of his bottles are my breast milk, which is totally fine. I honestly, I'm just really happy that he's, you know, getting enough milk, and he's eating so much more now that he's getting so much bigger, which it really doesn't matter whether it's formula or breast milk. I still pump through the night. I will say that's getting harder and harder, just because, you know, my son sleeps so well through the night. I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. I should be able to sleep through the night, and I don't, because I wake up 2 to 3 times to pump. But and at the end of the day, I just tell myself like it's worth it. You know, he's getting this like nutrition from me. He's getting some nutrition from formula as well. But yeah, that's been tough. But we've made it to almost 5 months with almost 100% breast milk, some formula, which is perfectly fine. And that's where we're at right now. I still pump mostly for all his bottles. I haven't physically breastfed him for, I want to say, a month now, and I've just exclusively been pumping. It's just a lot easier for me, especially when I'm at work, which, you know, is at home. But if I just have the next bottle ready for whenever he's hungry, it's a lot easier for me to just bottle feed him, especially like I'm like on Zoom. I have my camera off, but I'll bottle feed him, you know, until the end of the day. Is just way easier for me. So yeah, that's been my journey thus far with breastfeeding. I hope that I was able to provide some clarity for some of you. If you have any questions, anything about my breastfeeding journey, please leave a comment down below, or follow me on Instagram and DM me personally. I will get back to you. I know, especially for first-time moms, it can be so stressful. to go through like a breastfeeding journey, whether it be for a few months, whether it be for a full year or more. But just know, like, as long as your baby is getting nutrients, whether it is from breast milk or from formula, that you're taking good care of them. So nobody should shame anybody for using formula. It's just as good. I want to make that really clear. I feel like I don't see a lot of videos that say that, and although this video is going to be titled like my breastfeeding journey, it also has to do with formula as well. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all your support. Like I said, if you're new here, please subscribe down below, hit the notification bell. I upload new videos every single week, and I will see you guys in the next video.